Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd ask unanimous consent to dispense with further reading of Senate Bill 1165.
Unanimous consent has been requested. Is there objection? Hearing none, gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We just passed a maintenance budget for health and welfare, and this is an appropriation for the Department of Behavioral Health. The behavioral health has several divisions in it: mental health, psychiatric hospital, substance abuse, treatment, prevention. With that, I direct you to Table 1 on this budget on the fiscal note. This bill provides an appropriation for the Idaho Behavioral Health Plan grant increase, population forecast adjustments, fund shifts, and state hospital list and fund adjustments for substance abuse and prevention. The total increase on this enhancement is $261,400. That's a 0.2% increase in this budget. I can tell you the working group worked really hard to keep this budget at zero or just a hair above, and we ended up with just a hair above. And so with that, Mr. Speaker, I would hope that you could pass this budget and we could go home.
We all like to go home idea. Further debate on the motion. Good lady from 2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentleman yield to a question?
Gentleman yield to a question.
Gentleman yields.
Gentleman yields.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good gentleman. I'm wondering if you could expand a little bit more on the substance abuse treatments. In the past, there was drug use and drug misuse and drug abuse, and they funded them differently, and I just don't know if that's got cleaned up in here, and if you could expand on that, I would appreciate it.
Good gentleman from 31.
Happy to yield to a question there and check this out. If I have the information, and if I don't, I'll get back to you.
Mr. Speaker, I did not mean to blindside you.
Good lady from 2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If he doesn't have the information in front of him, I just didn't know if he could go elaborate more on that program.
Thank you, lady. And the good gentleman is looking at that information, and I think he could provide that for you in his closing, if he wants to.
Right.
Thank you, good gentleman. Further debate on the motion. Gentleman 25.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If the gentleman from 31 would yield to a question.
Yeah, his hands full. Gentleman 31.
Happy to yield.
Gentleman yield.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good gentleman. Sorry to delay you researching the other question, but we're moving from federal funds to dedicated funds. What is the source of the dedicated funds in this budget?
Gentleman 31.
Source of the dedicated funds would be federal funds.
It is.
So we're moving.
Gentleman 31.
These funds that are for the grant are federal funds. They're not dedicated funds.
Gentleman 25.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm just looking at the fiscal, or excuse me, the fiscal note, and it says dedicated funds $2,733,000. Am I looking at the wrong bill or something?
Look at mental health services. You'll see enhancement number 4.
Hold on. Stop.
Sorry.
The gentleman from 25, repeat your question, and we'll go this way.
Okay. Yeah, my question relates to the fiscal note, and it says dedicated funds column. It says $2,733,100, and the same amount is subtracted from the federal funds. I'm just trying to figure out, so what is the dedicated fund?
Gentleman 31.
Mr. Speaker, good gentleman. I'm looking at mental health, and I see where you're looking. The budget, though, that we're talking about is the $261,400 on federal funds. It's a grant increase. And then we're also looking at a population forecast adjustment. That's coming from federal funds to the general fund because of the change in compensation. And then the governor's initiative, we're moving those from federal funds to dedicated funds.
Gentleman from 25, I think I understand what your question is, but you want to state it again now?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm just, dedicated funds is from some source. Is it a federal grant, or is it some fees? Dedicated funds have generally speaking, something other than general funds and other than federal funds. I'm just trying to figure out what is the dedicated fund.
Gentleman 31.
I believe it's, I'll defer to my good chairman, 32.
The lady from 32 yield to that question.
The lady yields.
J lady has the floor.
The source of the dedicated funds is because we're moving to a managed care contract. And so the federal funds come over and they have to be recorded as dedicated funds because of that policy change. But he is correct, it is a federal fund source, but it needs to be accounted for differently because of a different contract.
Thank you, ladies. Further debate on the motion. Gentleman from 31, you need a minute to find out the answer to the first question. Are you okay? Ready to close? Okay, further debate on the motion? There was some, I guess there was no negative debate. All right, hearing none, hearing no debate, debate is closed. Question is, shall Senate Bill 1165 pass the House? Clerk will unlock the machines and the members will cast their votes. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Clerk will lock the machine and record the roll. 20 ayes, 50 nays, less than the majority having voted in favor of Senate Bill 1165. Senate Bill 1165 has failed to pass the House and we filed in the office of Chief Clerk.